Hello everyone, I'm MattTGM and welcome to another ranking video. I know it's been a while since our last one, god damn it, it's been a while, but I'm back and I'm tackling yet another game series. This time I'm going for the Batman Arkham series, specifically Batman Arkham Asylum, the first of the 4 Batman Arkham games, which is one of my favorite game series of all time, and this is one of my favorite games of all time, so you know, a lot of favoritism going on here. When I first played this game back in 2015, it was damn near revolutionary for me in the terms of my gaming experience. So different to what I'd played before, yet still so cool. I mean, I loved Batman, so that was already a plus, but the atmosphere, combat, story, stealth, the world, all of it made for a nearly unmatched experience. And then I played Arkham City Night and Origins, and they came pretty close, but I still prefer Asylum over all of them, just personal preference. However, for everything great about this game, how do its bosses stack up to examination? That's a matter for debate, and it's been debated a lot, so let's give my take, and delve into the Asylum to see what fights await us within. The very first boss of this game is this deformed Titan reject. I say boss with air quotes because it's not exactly a traditional fight. Then again, neither are half the bosses on this list, but hey, sue me. When I first saw this guy, I was honestly kind of intimidated. He's a scary boy, he's all big and strong and monstrous looking. The mystery surrounding Titan makes this guy's appearance pretty surprising, and it's an alright introduction to the bosses we'll see later down the line, and trust me, we'll see enough of them. However, it's hardly an engaging fight once the surprise wears off. All you've got to do is dodge his attacks, batarang him when he charges, and that's literally it. Because there's no health bar, all you've got to do is last until he dies, which makes no sense, seeing as Batman can fight the regular Titans straight up and defeat them, yet he can't take this guy out by himself? Either way, it's more of an enjoyable story moment than an actually good fight. Now, this may be a little surprising. I'm sure many of you were expecting this guy to be at the bottom of the list, but come on, how can I put this guy down lower than a fight where you don't even have to do anything to win? The climax to Arkham Asylum is this big, massive abomination, and it's a pretty damn cool sight for the first time, and even now. I mean, a strong, brutish Joker kinda goes against the main deal of the Joker, but bruh, look at this dude, it's awesome. He looks like the Abomination on steroids. Sadly, the fight doesn't really live up to the hype. All you've got to do is dodge him a few times, beat up his henchman he sends down, and then Ultra Batclaw him down to the platform. If he did this once, it'd be fine. I mean, the Joker's insane, he likes to show off, and, you know, it works as a one-off mechanic. But you do it 3 times. Surely Joker would have learned the first time not to keep turning his back to Batman? I get that this was Rocksteady's first game in the series, and it was amazing for a first attempt, don't get me wrong. But in terms of bosses, they made the Poison Ivy fight as the one just before this Joker fight, not counting the 2 Titans. Surely they could have found a way to make this fight more engaging? The Poison Ivy one was really good. Ah well, at least this fight has a lot of spectacle value, and the ending cutscene will always be awesome.
Must stop her. Sorry, Bane. The good doctor won't be a problem much longer.
Bane is right. This guy's a disappointing fight in basically every sense of the word. He's a glorified Titan goon, that's the long and the short of it. He charges, you throw a batarang to stun him a few times so he gets damaged, punch him 3 times and then rip a venom tube off of his back. Do that 3 times and you win the fight. That's all there is to it. For such an iconic villain as Bane, this is pretty disappointing. The saving grace I can give it is that it is technically the first fully fledged Titan style fight in the game, so I can cut it some credit there at least, and it is still semi-enjoyable. I mean, Batman does say Joker could create an army of 1,000 Banes with a Titan formula, so it makes sense for all the Titan goons to use the exact same moveset as he does. It's also, in my opinion, the 3rd hardest fight in the game, especially on hard mode and with Asylum's clunky controls. Bane does way more damage than any other regular Titan goon if he hits you. Just like Joker though, at least the ending cutscene finisher is great. If you couldn't tell just how much Rocksteady wanted you to appreciate Titan, this is the 4th battle in a row on this list that involves Titan in some way, this time having 2 Titan thugs. The reason it's above Bane is because fighting 2 at once is significantly more fun than fighting a single Titan with a ton of henchmen. Also, having 2 Titan henchmen with a ton of minions and motion blur is really annoyingly hard. But anyways, back to the fight. It's basically just Bane and the Imperfect Titan fights, except there's 2. That's really all there is to say about the mechanics. However, the one standout thing about it is that once you beat down a Titan enough, you can get on his back and start riding him around, letting him smack into his friend. It's fun as heck to ride him, seeing as, well, you're in control of this massive Bane-like monster. But that's basically the best entertainment value you'll be getting out of this fight. Oh well, at least it's not too bad of a romp. It's still an enjoyable experience, and the difficulty is well balanced compared to Bane and the other Titans. Finally, in the top 3 we get a breath of fresh air, which ironically comes in a sewer. Seeing the towering Killer Croc in the opening moments was just that, a cool moment. Seeing him in the sewer door when he jump scares you was spooky, and actually having to go into his lair was a very daunting prospect, especially for me as a 12-year-old kid. Now, this could technically not be considered a boss, seeing as you never straight up fight Croc and there's no health bar, but whatever. This is a good gameplay segment which is different from the Asylum regular, seeing as it's an inverse of your typical Predator encounter. Batman is, for the very first time in this game, the prey in this scenario, while Killer Croc hunts you down. Sneaking around on wooden planks slowly to avoid detection is a little boring, but I don't find it too tedious, and you can always use the line launcher. Plus, having Croc pop up out of nowhere is scary. The only way to stop him while he's charging at you is to batarang him, which has to be an aim shot. You can't use quickfire, which I learned the hard way back in the day. Later on, Croc adds an attack which destroys the planks that you run on that I nearly fell victim to a few times in hard mode because he just did it when I wasn't expecting it. You keep this up while retrieving 5 venom spores from his lair before heading back to the start, resulting in a tense chase sequence and an awesome explosive gel finisher. Does it go on for a while? Yes, but I've found a way to get around this by having Croc chase you towards the spores, letting you run at them at top speed. You don't really have to stealth your way to avoid him when he's already chasing you, and you're fast enough to outrun him. Overall, the atmosphere, tension, and the payoff to Croc's taunting, plus the ending cutscene, easily lands this guy in the top 3. The hardest fight in the game is also the best traditional boss in the entire game, which isn't really saying much considering the competition. Poison Ivy is the third to last boss in the game that you'll fight, and you take her on in this giant Plantosaurus Rex monster. At least it's not another Titan goon. She's got all you'd want in a boss. Tons of attacks, good difficulty, 2 faces, the lot. She starts off by slamming roots into the ground and summoning vines from said ground that will drain your health if you get caught in them, which aren't really that hard to avoid, but they are a nuisance, and on hard mode they will drain like a quarter of your health bar. Next up, she'll rise up and start firing red spore bubble things at you that deal damage on impact, which is her most effective way of damage dealing. While she attacks like this, she'll occasionally open up a protective case on the plant, which is your opportunity to hit her with a quickfire batarang for good damage. Do it enough times and you'll knock her down, letting you blast her shell with explosive gel. Phase 2 is much the same, except she attacks much quicker, does way more attacks, and some hypnotized henchmen come along to help her out, making things even harder for you because you now have to deal with them while dodging roots and spores. This is actually a pretty tough fight, seeing as getting hit by one exploding spore usually means getting hit by multiple, because you screwed up your rhythm of dodging. Batman's dodging in this game isn't exactly that fluid or quick, so you've got to time it right, otherwise risk getting hurt. You can also do chip damage to Ivy by quick firing batarangs at her even when the shell is closed, but it does way more damage if you wait for her to open it up. Do it again and you'll get to take her out with one final explosive blast, putting an end to the best combat boss in Arkham Asylum. However, there's still one boss fight that I hold in even higher regard than her.
Got a few more surprises in store for you. Prepare to face your fears. All of them!
Now, this may be rather polarizing, seeing as Scarecrow can't really be called a boss in the traditional sense, and yet I've put him at the peak of the list. It's a series of 3 stealth stages, rather than a big fight. But it's not here because of what it is mechanically, though it is still very good like that, I'll get to that later. It's here because of what it makes you feel. I've said many times that Batman Arkham Asylum, by far, has the most atmosphere out of any game in the Arkham series, and nearly every game in general that I've ever played. Scarecrow is a massive part of that. He was never advertised in the game, and the first time you get gassed in that elevator, then in the introductory cutscene, it's genuinely spooky stuff, especially when you're already in the creepy medical building of the asylum. The following fair segment where you see the dead body of Jim Gordon, then trip balls in the morgue, then see body bags with Bruce's parents, is one of the most memorable moments in the whole game. The following stealth segment involves you avoiding a giant Scarecrow's laser eyes in his own weird fear world, while you stealth around the broken fragments of the medical building until you reach the bat symbol, and Kamehameha Scarecrow to defeat. You do this twice more in the game, once in the manor with a Crime Alley flashback, which is again a really memorable moment, and the final and best time in intensive treatment where you eventually revisit it later in the game. You're walking along the hallway and your game glitches out and freezes, appearing to reboot, right back to the start. Only no, it's not broken. You're just seeing the opening cutscene but with Joker and Batman spot and Batman being the insane prisoner. It's such a trippy moment that caught me so off guard the first time I saw it, and it's easily one of the best in the game, perhaps even the best. And the whole thing even ends with a fake out game over screen. But right then Batman punches his way out of the fear grave and you're back to the Scarecrow segments. Stealthing your way around the maps requires patience, timing, and nerves, all of which are staples of Batman's character, and these segments really stand out amongst the game, seeing as there's not really much like it, ending in a final confrontation where you beat up a ton of skelly boys and triple blast Scarecrow with your willpower. All in all, it's an atmospheric encounter with solid mechanics that all adds up to one of the greatest boss fights in the entire Arkham series, and I cannot thank Rocksteady enough for including it. Well guys, that's going to wrap up my list for the Arkham Asylum bosses ranked from worst to best. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I'll try pump out as many as possible as quick as possible, seeing as, these videos seem to do relatively well, for my standards. Let me know your own rankings in the comment section below, and be sure to subscribe for more infrequent yet epic content. I'll be doing an Arkham City ranking in the near future, with Origins and Night soon to follow, so stay hyped. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.